When we are learning a new language, the first thing that comes to our mind are grammar, pronunciation, and vocabulary. However, our beliefs are so important in the way that we learn a second language. Beliefs can affect the way that students learn. For example, in the research of Abraham and Van, they found some evidence that belief might affect learning outcomes in a case study of two learners, Gerardo and Pedro. Gerardo and Pedro believed that using English outside the classroom was very important for practice and involved into this new language. They also believed that class participation was essential. However, Gerardo thought that it was necessary to pay more attention on grammar, while Pedro didn't. Also, Gerardo thought that it was important to understand the idea and solve the problems, while Pedro considered topic abandonment the best strategy in some cases. Abraham and Van characterized Gerardo's philosophy of language learning as broad because he wanted to understand the idea and solve the problem, and Pedro as narrow because when he finds a difficult, he preferred to pass to the next exercise. The result shows that Gerardo has had a better TOEFL score than Pedro. However, in a spoken English test, Pedro did better than Gerardo. Another research from Park investigated EFL students. He said that those learners who are more confident in learning English and have the intention of speaking to others in English tend to use English actively, especially outside the classroom. These two experiments can conclude that different beliefs, perceptions, and the way of how students interact with this foreign language could result in different kind of success in the learning process.
One dilemma is that it's difficult to conceive beliefs as an enduring factor. Like Cynthia Watt says, there is no doubt that learner beliefs greatly affect behavior. Indicates that someone believes in a particular method of learning and therefore resists to another, perhaps better approach. But we can just argue that this is an example of false cognition that can be changed by rational explanation. In fact, the main difference between the conception of attitudes and beliefs is exactly that beliefs have a stronger factual support, whereas attitudes are more deeply embedded in our mind and can be rooted back in our past or in the influence of the modeling example of some significant person in our life or around us. Besides, as Callahan noticed, beliefs have been seen mainly as cognitive entities to be found inside the mind of language learners. They are now seen as socially constructed in specific social, cultural, education, and political contexts. Beliefs are recognized as part of student experiences and interrelated with the environment. And attention is given to beliefs in conjunction with action and possibilities within particular social context.
Some beliefs can negatively affect performance in language acquisition. For example, when a student thinks that they don't have the aptitudes for language learning, they don't put the effort and end up failing without trying. Another negative belief is the unrealistic expectations that a student brings upon themselves, such as you're not allowed to make mistakes or that you should learn a language in less than 2 years. So, it shouldn't be a surprise that this expectation could lower a student's motivation and raise their anxiety. Having said all that, how could we as teachers Help our students change their beliefs that have a negative impact? Well, Bassano offers a 6-step process that can help teachers. In the first step, we should become aware of students' past classroom experience and their assumptions about language learning. In the second step, build students' confidence. In the third step, begin where the students are and move slowly. In the fourth step, we should show them achievements. In the fifth step, we have to allow them for free choice as much as possible. And in the final step, we should become aware of the students' interests and concerns, their goals and objectives.